Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to be showing you step by step how you can create for yourself this gorgeous abstract wave at home. I'm going to explain this painting step by step, every tool, every color mix, everything I do, so that you can follow along at home. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He is going to be helping me bring this lesson to you by making sure that the cameras are pointed at what I'm doing. He's going to also help me kind of straighten out this table a little bit because it's crooked.
We'll get that in a minute.
Okay. And so he does all the technical challenges. He also helps me find questions live from the show. If you have a question during the live stream, put your question all in caps. We will not think you are lying. And then what will happen is either one of the lovely people who have wrenches next to their names, those are our moderators, will help you find the video that actually answers that question. Or sometimes you will get a live shout out or your question answered live during the show, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm excited about this particular painting today because it's going to be mellow and easy and stress-free. That's my goal.
I like that.
Was that when I painted it? When I designed it, I was like, well, this is just a relaxing paint along. We should definitely make this a lesson because it's just going to be so chill. And it's been a minute since we've done abstract.
Yeah.
Has been a second,
Yeah,
really, since the last Acrylic April.
Has it been that long?
It's been a year since we've done an abstract.
That's kind of crazy.
No, because we released that one abstract in January.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the recorded one. But I haven't painted one. Like, it's been a minute for me.
Been a minute.
Yeah. And so I'm excited to share this with you. And I think it's just so perfect for summer. And I also think this is one that will get better looking as it gets bigger. So if you wanted to make this really big for your home, this is one of those pieces that would look gorgeous big. And I see Christina Egan says the nicest thing, did it hurt when you fell from heaven to teach us art? Well, that is the best twist on that particular. Those are really kind and thank you so much. And I really appreciate it.
That's so nice.
I'm just all touched.
Well, I'm going to say I'm going to take this touch moment to say if you guys want to be here with us, you can get SMS notifications. We have it all working. So you can get notified and be part of the fun when we do these live things. And it's like, I'm very proud of it. We got it all working. So there you go.
All right. Yeah, I love that. Definitely sign up if you want to be notified that we're live. Don't sign up if you don't want to be told we're live.
We send them.
Because we will send you a notification when we're live. So, or at least a premiere is going on where there's live chat where we're going to be there.
You get notified when we do stuff.
You get notified. And so,
all right.
Sign up if you want to be notified. All right. On this, I want to talk a little bit conceptually about this before we go over materials. If you're a person who has not tried abstract before, I want you to know this is a great first abstract to try because it's based on a very circular kind of brush stroke and palette knife stroke. The alternative to the palette knives, when we go over it, will be loyalty cards. So I will give you some alternatives. And I think that this is just going to be a funner class than you all expect. So let's just hop into the materials. We know that we're going to be doing this way more easy than we expect abstract class. And we're going to be breaking it down step by step. But to do that, I got to tell you what we're using. So I'm going to take my example painting and put it to the side.
Ooh, I see you.
I did that. I got, sometimes I have to sit here for a second while John sets up the cameras. And
she's just like, doodly
doodly doodly doodly doodly doo.
That way she's not
doodly doodly doodle.
That way, and then that way it's not. John, are you ready? John, are you ready?
John, are you ready?
She just entertains herself now.
So this canvas size is an 8x8. On my palette, I have Cad Red Medium, a surprising color for an oceanscape, but it's how we get little pops of orange under the blue, which is part of our abstract energy. Cad Yellow Medium, Phthalo Green. This one here is Phthalo Blue. Right here is Ultramarine Blue. Up at the top is Burnt Sienna. Here at the center is Titanium White. I have a couple artist knives. If you don't have artist knives, you can use like a credit card or an old like loyalty card to get the same scrapey effect. And for extra fun, I may add some splatter at the end. And so this is, I don't know, we got these toothbrushes in a pack. But once you use a toothbrush for paint, it never goes back in your teeth.
Yeah, no, it's
no,
it's doomed.
It's forever there. All right, I'll put these aside to where I need them.
For grout only.
For grout only. And the first step, John, is going to be such an easy step.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, what is the first step? Well, that's not the first step.
That's not the first step.
That seems like a completely wrong set of steps loaded. So
It does feel a little bit. It feels a little bit like you got to cut it down. I don't think it's going to be 15 steps, guys. I think it's going to be just a couple of steps.
No, give me just a minute and I'll get the right set of steps.
I see Sheila in the room, and Carol G, and Christina Burrell, and Angela Maxwell, and Trisha Arnold. I want to try abstract. Thank you. I think you're going to like it. It's a lot of fun.
Give me just a moment here. So I'm so sorry that I don't, let's see here.
Oh, thank you, Heather C. That's super cool. So live streaming means like things. Sometimes we have the wrong steps loaded and it's fully live. That's how you know it's live and not Memorex.
Okay, good. Here I got one. I got a step 1. So
the goofiness. The goofiness happens.
Step 1.
1.
Go on, to work. Oh, look at that. Step 1.
All right. So for step 1, I'm going to paint the entire canvas with ultramarine blue paint. Now I'm going to put it out directly from my tube because I like to be silly, and we turn these into short videos for the shorts, you know, because YouTube loves the shorts. So like a little music, a little watch me paint, but know that there's generally classes that match my short videos, but it looks cool on the short videos. So I like to do it. I go right over my little eye. Really, this is just about creating a blue canvas. And so I'm going to paint this out. It will be streaky. It will not be tidy. I can promise you that. I'm just trying to make the whole canvas just some level of blue. That will help it, when I'm doing the loose techniques, not look unfinished. Sometimes when you're doing abstract, it feels like you just go at the canvas. And that's almost the instinct, right? And then you know, it kind of gets away from you. So the same stuff we do in traditional painting, we do in abstracts. Like, we're thoughtful. We think about things. We want our canvas to feel finished. You can paint the sides of this if you want to with the blue. It can be very, very nice. But this just gives us a nice start for our little wave. Nice little start. Just a little bit of a paint here. Painting out the eye. I'm not worried about the streaks. I'm just making sure that my canvas is fully covered and that the edges of my canvas have paint kind of at least going around them, if not the complete edge, because that will let me, when I frame it, have a better result when I'm framing. Or if you don't want to frame and you just want to hang direct on the wall, just paint those edges all the way to the edges. Paint those edges to the edges. Like all the way around. You'd be like, woo, I'm so tidy. All right. I think that's pretty darn good. And I still have room for one darker shade from there, so I'm okay. Now, to do the next part, I've got to dry this though.
Yeah.
So I've got this acrylic ground, this solid blue that I'm going to be painting on. Now I'm going to dry this thoroughly. By the way, you didn't need to have an eye on your canvas. That wasn't a required part of this. I'm going to dry it with a hairdryer. Okay. John's going to talk to you about, do we have anything left in our garage sale?
I will find out. So, if you guys are just new joining here, during the hair drying portion, I try to hit the commercial break thing so that it waits longer to do another commercial break. So that's when I try to put those in there. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Angela. As Cinnamon said, we have a store on our website, theartsherpa.com. And we have some garage sale boxes that I think are still out there. They're a really phenomenal deal. And it's really worth going out there and checking out, because sometimes we only have 2 or 3 of an item that we'll put up for sale. A lot of times those are specials and closeouts and things. Sometimes we don't even have enough of them to advertise. So they kind of go up there on our garage sale and our sale place. So you can keep an eye out for things over there that will be fun. Right?
Right.
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 Something like that.
Because we got to clean out that garage.
That's right. Clean out the garage.
Too many art supplies in the garage. All right. So I've got this completely dry. I am going to take a brush. I'm going to do most of the brush work of the wave with this brush. This is a number 8 Raphael Textura D brush. It has kind of a filbert edge and kind of a blending edge. You could do a bright, you could do a round, because this is really about creating like the circle and then all of that energy going around in that circle and then going over it with a knife. So it's very low pressure for us. So I'm going to draw this in with chalk so you can see what we're going to do. I'm going to come here. This is just a chalk pencil. And the little line's going to come down. This is the halfway point. I'm going to bring this down and just kind of come around and make a little spiral. That's what you're doing, is you're just making a little spiral. And a little line off of the wave coming up. And so you want room to have splash and splatter in the top of your wave and everything. So that's why I sometimes like to chalk in a little bit first. Even though it's abstract, you really can't get this wrong, but you might want to chalk it in. If you have kids chalk, like for a chalkboard, you can use that. Now I'm going to do this in paint so you can see this too. I'm going to come here and take a little bit of my Phthalo Blue and my Ultramarine Blue together. And I'm going to just come along this little curve here with this dark color. That's not too stressful. Just nice dark blue. Get a little water on my brush. Just kind of deepen this up, thicken it up a little bit so it'll hold as I paint the rest of this wave. Because this holds the shape of my wave. And what I mean by that is, as I'm just loosely and creatively painting in the circle, this inner dark edge will remain. We might change its little shape a little bit and everything, but it'll help us hold the wave. So it's just part Phthalo Blue, part Ultramarine Blue. So that is the first step on how you're going to go ahead and get the wave in here.
Seems pretty good.
Isn't that pretty good? All right. Let's get on to step 2, which has some...
That was step 2.
Oh, step 3.
Okay.
All right. Now down here in the corner, I'm going to want to kind of brush up a little bit of a dark blue as well, because this end tends to be very dark. So that's Phthalo Blue and Ultramarine Blue together. That's my deep ocean color right now. And I curve this in. And how I know the curve is I'm following this curve. So the curves are helping inform my painting, and I'm doing brush strokes that I can really see the curves on. Just a nice dark value. Just brushing that little curve in. Come here, get a little water on my brush. I don't want too much, so I will sometimes take it off on my paper towel because I don't want to hold too much water. I'll only come up the wave a little bit. I'm going to come kind of in here and brush over a little bit there. That's looking pretty good. All right, I'm going to rinse out. Let's put up another step.
All right.
We're going to change color a little bit. Oh, Silver Sky Cloud says, can I use varnish to seal watercolor paint? There is varnish specifically for watercolor that you can seal it with. So yeah, you can do that now. All right, now I'm going to paint in my light area. I'm going to take a little bit of my Phthalo Blue and my Phthalo Green together. Smidge of my Cad Yellow. And lots of my white. I'm going to come inside here. I'm going to start to paint this lightness out. Just brush that out there. You can kind of see it swirls with this, so it just comes off there. Maybe a slightly kind of darker turquoise to come over here. Little more white into my turquoise and get a smidge of the yellow. Just brush that around. Now I'm going to go ahead and get a little more blue into this mix, and I'll still put some white into it, so I'm just putting a little more phthalo blue in there. So it's a little less turquoise, but still pretty turquoise. And I'm going to come off here. And I'm going to brush this around like that. Bringing that down. Nice curving brush strokes. Maybe get a little more phthalo blue in there. And brushing that in. Little white into the phthalo blue. So here at the center is like kindly more phthalo blue. And just brushing it up. And carrying it around and kind of blending and streaking those in together. And so you have this like motion. I'm going to rinse out pretty thoroughly. And I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna and my ultramarine blue, more alt blue than burnt sienna, because I'm making a gray, a blue gray. So that's the color I'm trying to mix into, is a nice steel blue gray. And I'm going to get a little white into the mix. And I'm going to come here on the outside edge and paint this with a little bit of steel blue gray. And then I'm going to kind of come in here and sort of blend in this little steel blue gray color. Kind of blend that in there, kind of coming into that point, keeping that energy going, right? So we're just really paying attention to the spiral energy that we have going on. Let's call that a step. Now I'm going to do an interesting thing here. This is actually, I'm going to make sure it's dry. I think it'll, because if this is wet on your canvas, and it might be, it will mess up the next step. So we're going to actually dry this so that your canvas and my canvas have the same stuff going on.
That seems like a smart thing to do there.
It's just sometimes I got to think about what your experience is at home.
Yeah. All right.
So I dry it a little bit just to make sure the next one goes well.
That'll just take just a moment, I think, for her to get that to dry. Not too long. And we'll be right back there. So thank you guys all. Thank you for everyone who's coming in and liking, comment, subscribing, sharing. Those are wonderful ways to help share and get the show out there. Don't forget, you can join our newsletters. They're on the website. All sorts of fun stuff out there. Down in the link in the description down below is where we have all the materials and the fun stuff for you. Yeah, and we'll revive this step. We'll go revive.
Revive the 5. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of my Cad yellow and mix some Cad red into it. And I'm going to come in here and streak out a little bit of this yellow orange. Kind of energetically coming up through the wave even. Now some of this is going to peek out from our palette knife work. Notice I'm leaving lots of spaces between these yellow streaks. I'm kind of like leaning into this like stiffness of the brush and letting this be very streaky. Now, every time I do this and you do this, we'll have a painting that's kind of the same, but it won't be exactly the same. And especially in this type of abstract work where we're, doing palette knife and having a lot of immediate kind of interesting stuff, you wouldn't want it to be exactly the same. You wouldn't want to have that expectation there. I'm going to add a little bit of red to this. Maybe through here a little bit. Sometimes I might come in and get a little bit of my burnt sienna into my little orange over here. And add a little bit of that in a couple of places. These are just colors that would peek out. But see how our energy is going? Sound effects help. Go. Just saying, it'll get you by. Sound effects will get you by.
I find so.
Alrighty. And we're going to dry everything. And the reason we're drying around this orange and yellow layer is because mixed in with the blue, it would really desaturate the colors. And what we want is it to be peeking out and through,
Right.
but not mixing with the blues and aquas on the canvas.
That
We
makes
don't want
sense.
that.
So there again, we got to dry, thoroughly dry your surface. That'll make sure that, you don't mix those paints colors. And it just takes a moment to get it thoroughly dry.
Thoroughly dry.
And it'll be okay.
Dry. Dry. Now I'm going to do a little more inner wave here. I'm going to take my Phthalo Blue and Ultramarine Blue. And I might go ahead and tighten this up just a little bit. And I'll go ahead and get into my little Phthalo Green here.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you so much, Julie. Get a little aqua kind of planted here, going around, worked in. See how we're working a little aqua in? Getting our ocean colors being all splashy here. A little more white. There we go. It's a nice basis to work everything else out in. I like it. I'm super happy with it. Now we're going to get into our artist knife work, which is very exciting. We put my brush aside and I'm going to get my small diamond. Now, if you don't have an artist knife, and no, you can buy these in plastic if you need to. You can get these in plastic at the store for just a few bucks. And I do think having a couple artist knife in your brush bucket is good. This particular one is the RGM from Italy. And I really love these with the rubber grip. They're easy on my hands, and they're easier to hold, but the plastic ones will get you through, or you can use a credit card or like loyalty card. Now we're going to come in here and start working the inside of our little circle. So I'm going to take a little bit of my Phthalo Blue and a little bit of my Phthalo Green, and I'm going to mix them together. And I'm going to start mixing in some white. Making a very, very light turquoise. I'm going to come inside here. And so you load kind of a bead on the right-hand side of the knife because I want to drag over towards the left. And I'm going to continue to kind of curl my knife in the direction of my spiral. And I'm letting things sort of skip over. So it's leaving little rough working this in here. That's a little more white than I wanted. So when that happens, I'll just come in and work a color into it.
Gotta work that color.
Kind of scrape this through and come around that little center spiral. That's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to take a smidge of my yellow and I just grab a little tip of it with the tip of my knife. Add a little more white into that yellow green. So I'm working that in. And just create a little kind of even more green yellow. That's like right there. Kind of working in that center. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my Ultramarine blue and my Phthalo blue. And I'm going to come here and start to roughly scrape down a little bit of this dark color. Ultramarine blue, Phthalo blue. And I'm just using the knife to sort of scrape that down. And I'm letting the brushwork show through. So the brushwork I did in, and we're going to paint over it a lot with the palette knives, but it's going to show through and it's going to make this painting look way more complex. And come here, and you can kind of see the load on my knife, and I just kind of drag it across there. It's all right for you to have a little bit of splashiness. A little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of phthalo blue. Just loading a little bead up when I want to kind of paint to the tip.
It's funny being plugged into the live store.
Yeah.
I know that Liz just scooped up one of the last kits.
Oh, really?
And so it's so funny. It's like information is so now available. It's weird, you know. So thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Liz.
You have one of the few that are left.
I'm adding a little white to my turquoise from earlier. I'm going to come here and kind of scrape that down. You can see that that just leaves skips and things of like the orange peeking through. And I can bring a little of this color down into the wave, but down below. Just blending. There we go. So you can kind of see how that texture and everything is going in. Angela Rollins is like saying that it's coming back to art for like health reasons, which I totally get. I'm doing art for health reasons. I think art is really fantastic to do for just your general well-being. I think it's a really terrific, healthy thing to do. Because like this time is very chill time. Like now you could mess up your chill time if you started getting hard on yourself and be like, oh, I hate my palette knife. And you know, that everyone else's palette knife is better than my palette knife. So you don't want to do that. You want to just enjoy the process of your artist knife. Kind of brushing that up there, bringing some of that phthalo turquoise, which is the phthalo blue and phthalo green and smidge white. Smidge of white, so we can see the turquoise in it. Just bring that around. Get a little bit more of my white into this turquoise. Because the top of the wave is going to be, this is like, even though this is an abstract wave, we still use things we know about waves. We know that where where they're arcing and they're thinner, the light comes through, and so you get these like lighter aquas. We can still use that in our painting here to inform what we've got going on. Just a little bit of the blue showing through. I can streak that in there. It's looking really good. Let's call that a step.
All right.
Now I'm going to take my Phthalo Blue and my Ultramarine Blue, mix a little white into it. I might even get a smidge of my burnt sienna. I'm going to come here and start to sort of skip some of this like color right there. Maybe a little more white. Gently skipping. It's like skipping a stone. As I'm coming through here, I can add a little more white into my mix. Just letting that like skip along. That's like the sea foam. Well, that was a good one. That one came out really well. Sometimes you'll be doing it, you're like, yes, that worked out so much better than expected. I'm grabbing a little bit of a mix of color. I grab my gray from up there, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my white mixed in here so it's not white, but it's light. Get a little bead going. Skip that along there for sea foam. Making some sea foam. Sea foam.
I get the Z.
So this isn't white, but in contrast to what's underneath, it's very light. So how are we loving this?
Totally love it.
Oh, and I have videos on palette knife techniques and how to use a palette knife. And I have written stuff up on how to do them right left-handed. The big thing to know is that when you load a bead, which is this active scraping, so see there's a little bit of paint there. If you load it on the right side, you're going to brush stroke from right to left or from up to down. If you load the bead on this opposite side, on the left side, then you go from left to right and from down to up. And that's if you're right-handed.
Right.
Right. But you're gonna switch it when you do when you do it to the left. Your brush stroke may be better down on the left-hand side than up on the left-hand side. Not just the opposite, but you'll find that there's a controlled direction in your brush stroke when you're changing hands. Grab a little bit more white on my little brush here, my little knife. I'm going to come up here and add some sea foam coming up the wave. Oh, that's some nice sea foam, isn't it? Sea foam. Well, I'm liking that very, very much. Very, very much. I want to come in here and maybe get a little bit of a phthalo blue and pick up some of the colors underneath and kind of give some dimensionality here to this lower corner. So picking up the greens and purples and blues, just kind of brushing that down. Making sure that's nice and rough down there. It's looking good. All right, so let's call this a step. We've gotten quite a lot of the nice sea foam in. Do I have any questions that I missed? And I should dry this too.
Oh, shit. If you're going to dry it, then we will
we'll
re-step.
We'll re-step. Sorry, I keep doing that to you today.
It happens.
Doing it to you today. Hardcore. The reason I'm drying is so that I can work my palette knife over areas and have them be more stable.
So that's totally okay. You know, if you're there at home drying along with us, just dry. You thoroughly dry your canvas. It's going to make it a lot easier. We'll re-step the step here in a second. Okay, we'll re-step that.
Yeah, re-step it. Re-step it. Now we're going to start doing some sea foam off of our wave. I'm going to mix my white into the little colors I have over here because I don't want just pure white. I'm going to come here really sort of at the tip and start to splash this out. See what I'm doing? Curving that up, splashing it out. Splash it out. Loading on the left-hand side. Maybe come in with just a little bit of toe work. And I might bring some of this down so that it's a little more spirally on the splash. Oh, I like that. That looks good today. It's a very good wave today. Just bring this along edge, load it, and we're going to keep kind of pulling this out. Make your splash as big as you want. Your wave can have as much energy as you want to put into it. Add some sea foam to the top of the wave coming around this corner, and I'm going to put some splash back here. Some nice splash going back there, right? Now I work my toe here and create some little foams. Some little kind of whimsical foam that's going through there. Maybe grab a little bit of my turquoise color and kind of curl it through some of the dark blue a little bit. Oh, that's nice. All right, let's call that a step. Now we get one extra step.
Did you dry it?
I don't need to dry it this time, but we're gonna give an extra step on this one. I'm gonna do an extra zhuzh with the splatter.
Okay, so we'll go step 9.
Step 9. If you don't like splatter, you are done. If you don't enjoy the act of splattering, but if you do, I'm going to turn my canvas to the diagonal. I'm going to take my toothbrush and I'm going to get some white paint on it. Bring it sort of over here, and I'm going to get clean water and sort of swirl the brush into the paint. The toothbrush. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to add a little bit of splatter. Because I think it'll add some interesting energy to the piece. But like, if you don't love splatter, it is perfectly okay just to be done with artist knives. Just like, be like, I'm good at the artist knife level, but I like the splatter. I feel like it adds some interesting dimensionality. I'm going to come in here and kind of maybe splatter this inner corner in a little bit so it's a little more splashy. And rinse that and put that to the side. And it takes a minute sometimes, depending on how long it takes your paint to dry. I can get away with a signature right now, because my painting is dry enough. I'm going to go ahead and take my brush over to the paint I sort of thinned out. And I'll go ahead and do my white. I'll sign in white. I don't want to sign in yellow or red because I just want those to be little colors that pop through. I don't want them to become the whole focus of my painting. Just give this a little signature down here. Nothing too like... Amy Over says, guess what? You're amazing. Yes, whoever's reading this, you're amazing. Amy, putting love into the universe as per the usual. Putting that love out there. So this is a fun one. We've got another really fun one coming up Saturday. That is a floral, and we're going to get gold foil involved and alcohol layering, which are very cool experimental techniques. So if you're wanting to do that, grab your Mona Lisa gold foil and grab your rubbing alcohol, 91%. If you can get that one, and it's great just to have around the house, like 91% alcohol is great to have around the house. And then you'll be able to do the abstract that we've got coming up.
Yeah.
So a couple of abstracts to get our little abstract little groove on. I hope you enjoyed today's chill painting. Again, I want you to notice that these two are even kind of different a little bit, even though they're the same person painting them, they're a little different from each other. So yours doesn't need to be a carbon copy of mine.
No.
It wouldn't be with this type of technique. You're going to have some spontaneous moments. You're going to have some unexpected charm in your painting. Now, the trick is for you to recognize that it's charm and to not let that inner critic voice come in and undermine your success in your painting. So, especially with abstract, let it sit with you for a minute and also get some distance from it. Because sometimes when we're up on an abstract, it just feels like a mess of paint. But when you put it on a wall and you stand back from it, it just feels like energy and color and emotional, and you can take it all in. So getting that distance sometimes too can be really helpful in appreciating your own abstract success. Now, if you would like to share with me your abstract painting, there's a couple places you can do that. You can do that on Facebook. I have a closed group. It's the Art Sherpa Official, and there's 3 questions just to verify you're a human for you to come join, and then you can share your tutorials that you do with me there in a closed group. We curate the group. Everyone is nice. We don't allow any meanness, so it's just a great place to share first painting and be supported. Over on my Patreon, which you can join for free. You don't even have to pay to be a Patreon over there because they have the free thing now too.
Yes.
There's a chat that you can share that's started over there if you're familiar with those, and you can share paintings in there. We've got a Discord. I'm on Instagram and Pinterest, so you can tag me in, and there's always support at theartsherpa.com. What is the purpose of this long monologue, which is to say, I'd like to see your art, please.
Yes,
I
share
enjoy
with us.
seeing your paintings. I enjoy your version. It just gives me great joy to see your take on things, so definitely share with us. If you were like, man, I just need this artist knife right here, this really cool green one with the little squiggle on it. These are available for sale in my store. So you can get these exact ones in my store. It's the green handle is the size that I'm doing. And I do recommend these. These are cool. But remember, you can use a credit card. You can use, not one that you're currently using to pay for food with. Because the paint will mess up the strip. One that you've retired, right? Or a loyalty card. So if you don't want to do the knife, you can do that. All right, guys. I really enjoyed today. It was just chill, wasn't it chill?
It was very awesome.
If it was your first stream, it was so lovely to have you. If you're here on the replay and you had a question, put it in the comments down below. I check my channel like every day, so I probably will see your question. And if I don't, I try to get back in and check. So you just never know. All right. On that note, I want you guys to be good to yourselves. Seriously, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel real soon. Bye-bye.